Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another stream with Swagglehaus. It is Thursday night, 6:30. I hope you guys are doing well out there. It's happy hour in my time. I mean, maybe you're on the East Coast, maybe it's late night. So I hope you guys got your late night drinks going. But today, thank you for joining me. It's going to be a great show. I'm really looking forward to this one. We got a very, very special guest, someone who has been a big participant in the previous iterations of Spec, Collect, Forget. So now it's time to put him in the hot seat and see how he does. And I feel really good about my selections this time around. You know, last time I had Automatic Comics on, Ryan, shout out to him. We had a great time. I felt like I was trying to figure out good picks for him. But this time I feel like I got some real tough choices for Chris here. So I'm hoping that certainly is the case. So we'll see how it goes. I've definitely spent a lot of time on the memes tonight. So we're going to have some good memes in the game. Probably some of my favorites. Definitely, they make me chuckle when I watch them. So I hope you guys are entertained by them as well. But let's check in the chat here and see how everyone is doing. We got Dan De La Torre in the chat here. This could be fun with you and Chris. Yeah, absolutely, man. Dan, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for hopping in the chat today. I'm really excited about this one. I'm really excited. Chris is a great guy. And, you know, I was actually able to go on his channel just a few nights ago. We did an unboxing and it was really, really a great time hanging out and just talking about books that he had recently got slabbed. And it's funny too, because actually Chris and I feel like we have a lot of things in common. Like, you know, not just the fact that we both love comic books, but like we both kind of have a film background and I feel like our career paths have, you know, zigzagged in ways. And so I feel like I have a lot of in common with him. So it's really great to have him on the show tonight. Lithograph. Hey, hello all. Lithograph, what's going on, man? Moonlit Comics. Hey, Mickey and VGCJ. What's up, chat? What's going on, Moonlit? Good to see you. Thanks for hopping in the stream today. King Lucci, what's going on, man? How's it going? Good to see you. Let's see who else we got in here. We got Bloop Comics. Yo, can't wait for the stream. Yeah, thank you, Bloop. Definitely, if you guys don't know, Bloop has a YouTube channel as well. He's making great content all the time. He's putting out some good spec stuff, good invest stuff. I definitely recommend you guys go check it out if you're interested. You won't be disappointed. He's got a great YouTube channel. So go check him out. Give him a sub up if you haven't already. JD Spider, yo, what's up? What's up, JD? Moonlit again. Hey, Dan. Hey, Nowhere Bound. What's going on, Nowhere? Good to see you. Thanks for hopping in the chat. Let's see who else we got here. Joe Dinsdale. Hey, Swagglehaus. Hell yeah, happy hour. Yeah, absolutely. I had my beer off stream. Maybe I can go get another one, although the show is going. So unless my wife wants to bring one in here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get one here. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, yay memes. Yeah. Definitely got the memes going. I'm hoping you guys are gonna like this batch of stuff. Let's see who else is here. One Shot Comics. What's going on, man? One Shot. Good to see you. Thanks for hopping in the channel here. Hey, Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom is in the house. Hey. Yes, I love that Vancouver Comics guy. Yeah, Vancouver Comics is awesome. It's gonna be a good show. Definitely excited to have him in here. What else is going on here? Terry, what's going on? Hey, I love your channel. Hey, Terry. Well, thank you so much for hopping in. It's gonna be a good time. Yeah. So thank you guys for hopping in here. We're just gonna give it a little bit of time here. Just kind of let some people filter in. I'm just gonna kind of, you know, I don't know, yabber for a little bit here. Is yabber a word? No. What was the word I'm looking for? I don't know. What are those words that I just constantly talk? Yeah, it's looking pretty good. What do you guys think of this wall right here? Look, I already got I don't know if you guys saw my videos the other day, but I picked up this first Hercules right there. It's on the wall behind me. And it's a very, very exciting addition to the wall behind me right now. Although like I kind of am in this weird situation where I don't know if you guys are like this. I get a little OCD about like how I want to arrange my comic books. So they're sort of alphabetical, at least the rows are alphabetical, but I do kind of want to show off these books right here. So part of me wants to like put them on the wing here, but then it'd be not in alphabetical order and that would drive me crazy. So I'm always like struggling of like, do I make this nice for videos or do I make it nice for myself when I'm just in the room looking at the books? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys do with your books? How do you guys organize them? We got Azur's Tigers in the house. Yeah, those pickups were dope. Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, honestly, that was the single biggest pickup I've ever had, proportional to like what I had to pay to what it's actually worth. But actually, Vancouver Comics has another pickup similar to that. Maybe we'll talk about it, where I think that even blows mine out of the water based on what he had to pay for the book that he got and what you could probably get for it, in the market. That's a pretty amazing pickup. Let's see, JD Spire. I just bought Moon Knight 3 from your hot comics list for $15 and sold it for $40. Hey, way to go, man. Hey, make the hobby pay for itself. You know what I mean? Just, that's how you got to do it. I mean, I know there's like a little bit of a bad connotation with like flipping books or whatever it is, but if you don't have a infinite budget to get every book you've ever wanted, I mean, you're going to have to do some trades effectively. And, that's essentially what comic book stores do, right? They buy collections and they sell stuff. And that's what you got to do. You got to work your way up and use that money to get the books that you ultimately want. First annual issues from Silver Age are the bomb. Yeah, totally. It's interesting because I think that Hercules issue that's the only Journey into Mystery annual, I think, from that set. So, I guess it's like, they went to Thor, so they started doing Thor annuals there. So that's the only Journey into Mystery annual. But I love the Journey into Mystery stuff. I think it's awesome. First time in the channel, I bought a couple of books from Vancouver Comic Junkie, and we got to talking, and here I am. Love that back wall. Hey, man, thanks you so much for hopping in. What'd you end up getting from Vancouver? Would love to know. Let's see who else we got here. We got Brad hopping in. I picked up a Spotlight 28 price variant high grade. Spotlight 28, which one is that? Is that the first Moon Knight story? You guys let me know. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Well, we are just a few moments away as we just kind of let a couple more people filter in here. We're going to bring on our very, very special guest. We got some good stuff lined up for the show. We're going to do a little bit of interview. We're going to find out about the person I'm going to be, bringing on the show here today. Then we're going to go into some news and rumors. There's some interesting stuff that has kind of popped up in the blogosphere as of late. So we're going to talk about that and some of the books. And then later on the show, we're going to hop into this game called Spec, Collect, Forget. A very fun game. It's the F, Marry, Kill comic book edition. And we're going to have some fun with it. We're going to have some fun for sure. So definitely hang around and we will get that going. All right, let's go. I picked up Predator #1 and Aliens #1. Been looking for the high grade Predator for a good while. Oh, very cool. Very cool. I got to say, I love the old Alien movies and definitely the old Predator movies. Like, I hope that universe starts to get its stuff worked out eventually. I hope they eventually figure it out, because we've had some newer movies of that were Predator and the Alien stuff, and I don't know. I wasn't a fan of them, so I'm definitely hoping that someone can take up the mantle of the franchise and really put it on to the level that it needs to be at. Carnival Hands with the WWF videos. We shall see. We shall see if we have WWF videos here today. You never know what I'm going to have with the memes, but know this, Carnival, I definitely spent way too much time working on this stuff here today. But I guess with that being said, maybe this is a good time to now bring on our guest here onto the show. This is a guy, he's got a great comic book YouTube channel. He's got some great books. I'm very, very lucky to have this guy on the show today. His name is Vancouver Comics Junkie. Now, I've done a few streams, and, actually, before I bring him on, let me just set it up a little bit here. Being a YouTuber, you kind of put yourself out there, right? You put yourself out there, and every now and again, you might get a negative comment on a video, or you might get a dislike on a video, or you might get some negative stuff, and I've certainly have gotten my fair share of negative stuff. But this guy brings all the positivity, and we're bringing him onto the channel. And I needed someone on my team on this stream that was going to help me get those like buttons smashed. I needed someone who was going to come onto the show and just, like a special ops, just be able to blast those likes so that we don't have, this terrorist group of dislikers crashing the Swagglehaus channel. So without further ado, let me bring on my guest to the show. Smash that like button. He is certainly going to help me do that here today. And welcome Vancouver Comics Junkie.
Wow, that's awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome a real Canadian hero, Vancouver Comics Junkie. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the show.
No problem, man. It's a joy to be here. I love your show. I think it's great. I just want to say, watching that opening, I wanted to watch the rest of the episode. Like, it lit me right up.
Well, let me just say, like, the intro is actually much longer. And as soon as I got to the scene where, all the people are parachuting down, I put in like 3 like buttons and I was like, all right, there's no way I'm going to keyframe all of this stuff. I got to cut this thing in half. So we got what we got. But,
wasn't the idea behind that cartoon was that it was just long form commercials for the toys. And it was their way of getting into the commercial or the market, because you couldn't just like make a toy commercial like that in the 80s. There was like some kind of limits of what you could do. And so they were able to sell it that way as a cartoon. I remember reading about that somewhere.
Oh, really? Interesting. I mean, I remember like that was, they had the G.I. Joe show. And then I feel like it was around the same time where like that G.I. Joe movie and the Transformers movie both came out. And I don't know, maybe it was like a Hasbro plan or something, but they definitely launched a ton of new toys as a result of that show. Like, you had Serpentor and all those, like, they went into like crazy town with Cobra, like literal snake people.
You saw? I never saw the movie. I for some reason I was a huge Joe fan. I never saw the movie.
Oh my God.
I know, it's crazy.
This guy, I set up this amazing intro that it's one of the best movie openings of all time.
I've never seen it,
in my opinion. And you've never seen it. Well,
I've never seen it. I've seen that opening somewhere. I just haven't. On YouTube or something, but I've never seen the movie.
I got to say this. I have a feeling that the movie holds up. I mean, really? It's been quite a while since I've watched it, but I recall it being an actual really good movie. Kind of like how the Transformers cartoon movie was actually really good.
Pretty good, yeah.
And I kind of feel like the G.I. Joe movie is, in fact, a really, really well done, well told story.
Well, they didn't release it because Transformers didn't do well, from what I was told. So they put it on video. That was what I was told.
Right. It probably would have been. I probably would have been a little too young. I remember renting it in a video store, so I don't recall it being in the movie theater or whatever.
I actually saw Transformers in the theater. Like, I remember that. That's
really?
That's how old I am. Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Old Man River.
Well, welcome to the show. I had to bring you on. I know you were a G.I. Joe guy, so I had to, do an intro for you that felt fitting. But why don't we start there? Because, for those who don't know, Vancouver Comics Junkie, he's got a great YouTube channel. He's got some great books. He's a collector. I know you to be a big kind of G.I. Joe guy. Is that kind of how you started into comic books? Was like kind
Absolutely.
of going into the cartoons and making your way in?
Actually, for me, comics started, like everyone, when they were really young, like comics would just sort of acquire at your house. Like somehow, like uncles or someone would drop them by and you were like 4 years old. And the Hulk was really interesting to me. So I like the Hulk. But G.I. Joe when that hit, it was huge for me. And I went into a comic store, an actual comic store. And I've told this story before, but I bought G.I. Joe #1. And it was like, I think it was 6 months old at that point. And it was in a bag, like with a backer board. And I had to pay $2 for it, which was I think 50 cents more than the price tag. And my mom literally slapped me in the face for she was so mad at me.
Really?
Well, because comics were garbage back then.
Right.
I should have paid $0.25 because it was used. Like, she was furious with me. And man, I think that slap just slapped the right sense into me, because I never stopped after that. I had to own everything. So I actually just got some 9/8 back. Some G.I. Joe.
Nice.
I can show a little later if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, was that specific comic book the first comic book you ever bought for yourself?
As a back issue, yeah. Okay. I mean, I bought Star Wars and some Hulks and stuff off the rack, like, but it was stuff like for road trips, like when your parents were going on vacation and stuff.
Right.
But never as a collector, but I was obsessed after that. So like this comic store was called Comic City, and I grew up in like a farm town. And in the 80s, everywhere had a comic store. And there was a period where there was like 7 comic stores in our hometown at one point, in the late 80s even. So it was like big, and it was cool to be a comic collector. And I just got obsessed. And like there was a wall of books that looked a lot like the wall behind you, and I've just been trying to collect that wall ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you are you somebody who, like, you collected early on, and then have you throughout the years been kind of consistent with your collecting, or was there a point that it became more hardcore?
I was hardcore from like grade 7 through about grade 12, and then I completely like discovered women, like girls. I was you know, and partying and just going out, and I couldn't do both. I just couldn't do both. I didn't give a shit if people knew I collected comics. It had nothing to do with it. In fact, I didn't care at all. And I still bought comics. I still went in comic stores and would buy new stuff on occasion, but I definitely just shut her down with the old stuff. And then there was a period in my mid-20s where I just dived right back in and started buying old keys and went kind of crazy, and then put those away. And then I sold a bunch like around 2003 and bought an apartment with the proceeds. Like, it was good. In retrospect, I'm like, man, it was so, like, they were worth so much now. But anyway, and it just sort of, I had kids, had to take a break there because kids are expensive.
Yeah.
So, and now I'm back into it now. So
yeah. So when would you say was like kind of like, how long ago was like the new surge of your collecting passion?
I have this friend out in Winnipeg, is a presser named Greg Gurr, who I recommend highly to anyone. Greg and Greg Pressing on Facebook. Anyway, he and I have been friends since we were like 6 years old, and he was my collecting buddy my whole life. And when I wasn't collecting, we would talk frequently on the phone, and he would always talk about the books he was getting. And we were big on collecting number ones from the 70s and 60s, like anything like Ghost Rider #1 or Groovy #1, which was a really rare, like just rare number ones from Marvel. And there was so many of them. And I remember saying to him one day, I was like, I'm going to own every #1 from 1961 to 1991. And he like laughed at me. And he, you know, and that's when I started. But the thing is, I ended up getting all the #1s from like the 70s and the 80s, like almost all of them. And he's getting them in like 96, 98. And I ended up kind of going off and collecting like I did when I was a kid, which was to collect those keys that I wanted as a young, like 12-year-old. So it just sort of morphed into, you know, keys and stuff like that, as it has for most people, I think. So yeah.
I feel like, I mean, well, once you start to get older, like there's two things that happen. One, you start to make some money so you can buy that expensive book you want. And then two, it's like, you know, as life goes and you move into a house and you have kids and a wife and stuff, you can't have boxes and boxes of comics. You got to be choosy with what you have. At least that's
it's like that with me, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have like 3 short boxes in my bedroom and some CGC books in my closet because I've run out of space in my office area. And like it's getting, I gotta bring it back again. Like it's getting a little much. So
well, it's funny that you mentioned that with the CGCs and stuff, because, you know, I was on your channel just a few nights ago, I think it was, maybe it was last week or so. Yeah. And you did an unboxing, and, you know, I noticed that, you know, definitely everything that you got was like, these are great keys and everything like that. But what's your kind of take as someone who doesn't have too many CGC books? I see you as someone who slabs a lot of things. What's your take on slabbing versus having things raw, and your feeling on that?
I like the uniformity of it all. So like my main collection is slabbed books and things about to get slabbed. And I really hate right now that CGC is taking like up to 6 months to slab a normal book. Like that's really kind of upsetting to me. And but saying that, I'd like to have all my. It's like some people want all their books in milers, or some people won't want all their books. I just like CGC. The other angle is this: is that, as you probably notice, I buy multiples of a lot of stuff, and so I'll have like 3 of one book, but I'll always keep the best copy for myself, and the other 2 are potentially for sale. Yeah, CGC'd, it's the easiest sale ever. It's like there's no question on how to sell it. When they're raw, I've had a lot of difficulty selling raw myself, like people bitching or having excuses to like knock your price down, or, you know, for the grade. Like everyone disagrees on grade. And I just find with CGC, it's just like such a simple process, and it's worth the process. And also too, like to have like a 9/8 copy of, say, G.I. Joe 21 raw, I couldn't sell that thing for more than about $800. But if I have a CGC in a slab, it potentially is $3,700.
Right.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, because I have a front row seat to your expertise here. Like, I'm someone, I have a bunch of raws that I really like. A lot of stuff behind me, I would eventually like to get slabbed, mostly just for preservation, right? Like there's certain things that I just would feel better about them being in a case, and then I can handle them and people can look at them more. But there are like a lot of books behind me that are like, they're in that weird range where it's like, I don't know, let's take this Living Tribunal, right? It's like a cool book, but is it really worth slabbing that thing? Like, let's say it's a 6.0. Is it really worth it? Like, what's your feeling on those?
I have 3 copies of that slabbed. I have a 5.5, a 6.5, and an 8.5, a 7.5 and an 8.5. And I slabbed all 3 of them. I also believe in that book. I just think Living Tribunal is going to show up at some point, and I've been buying them for a while. I think getting a 6.5 is a no-brainer. Like, that character shows up. Okay, here's the other thing too. I'm changing not topic, but if you had like a Batman 55, I'm just making up a number from the Golden Age, would you have that slabbed? More than likely, even if it was like a 3.0 or a 2.0.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to younger people, that's what these books are, and they're slowly becoming those books. I just think getting them slabbed is a smart move for their preservation, but also most of these things are going up. Even during this like weird time with COVID and the way prices are, long term, these books are only going up. So I think at some point it makes them financially viable for you to do it. I really believe that. So and get ahead of the curve too. Like, don't just get your expensive books. Like, one day, like one book's going to pop and you're going to have a second copy. And you can sell that book and use it to buy a different book because you have it just waiting to go. Right.
No, it does. I mean, to everything you've mentioned, like, I do like the idea of like kind of the liquidity of having something, in a CGC case where it's like, there's no deliberation over like what the value is. It's just look up GPA and here you go. And then, but I kind of want to point out what Blue Pier says, because I kind of do this essentially. It's like, I respect slabbing books in CG, but if I want to get a Grail book or Major Key, I'd rather just get it raw, low grade, complete copy, or for half price. And it's like, I kind of agree with that in the sense of like, if I can find a book raw, I'd rather actually just buy that. And I'm hoping there's no shenanigans with it, but I'll get a better deal in that sense.
I almost never buy CGC books. Like, it's very rare, unless it's like a fairly modern book or a cheap book that's a 9.8. It's just easier to get a 9.8. So but I buy almost everything raw. So I just like to put them in the slab. So, but my big thing is like, if I have a really big book, and it's really expensive, like I do have a few of those, I don't want to open it. I don't want to touch it. Like, I don't want to because I've damaged books before in my past, and I have like PTSD over it. So once it's in the slab, it's good.
yeah. That's kind of how I feel too. And I know that this is like a real non-reason for, I'm sure, a lot of people who are watching, to why to slab a thing. But I will say that when I show my friends who are non-comic book collectors a slab versus a raw book, it doesn't matter what's in the slab. They know that it's important. And like, I don't know. I mean, you can say what it is. I mean, I know it's like superficial and stuff, but I do kind of like that. People appreciate it when they see it in this case and it has a grade on it and all that stuff. I think they just think it's cool.
I noticed Dan is asking if I use CBCS or EGC. Sorry, I'm noticing the comments. Hey Dan, by the way. I like CBCS a lot. I actually like their cases more than the CGC. I just hate their labels so much, and but I'm actually going to be getting some CBCS stuff for my personal collection long term. Like, I have no problem with stuff sitting in a CBCS label. I like it a lot. So,
yeah. I mean, as someone who, I don't have any, like, I'm not a big slapper person or whatever.
Yeah.
I really don't care between CGC or CBCS. Although I will say, like, not having, being completely trying to be objective about it. Like, I do think that the fact that the number on the CGC case, because it has more contrast to the label, it makes it pop more, and that kind of makes the label look better. It just does. And I really don't understand like why CBCS doesn't do that. I mean, it's such a clear thing.
Inkjet, right?
What's that?
looks like it looks like somebody just printed it off an inkjet printer off their computer.
Yeah.
Like just threw it in there. Like, there's even perforation marks on them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and Trilogy here. CBCS needs a facelift on those levels. Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. But I do think like this right here, this feels like the super ownable thing that CBCS does. They can verify those signatures. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that's something they should be pushing heavily. I feel like
I agree. I actually have an Eternals #1 there right now, signed by the King. So we'll see.
This is another good point by Carnival right here. CBCS should get the rights to do DC custom labels. Like,
interesting.
They should do for sure whatever they can to separate themselves or be ownable. But again, I don't know. I mean, maybe they probably make tons of money and they're probably doing really well. So who knows?
Aren't they owned by some giant company like Beckett? It's Beckett.
Yeah, I think they are connected to one of the card grading companies. So I don't know. Maybe it's not their decision overall. But back to your collection here. So you got a YouTube channel, Vancouver Comics Junkie. I have a link in the description in case you guys haven't discovered Chris's channel here before. Definitely go over there, sub him up, check out his stuff. You're going to like it. But tell me about like how you sort of started the channel and what was like kind of the impetus to that and what's the origin story for your channel?
My origin tale.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun. It was COVID, man. It was sitting around. I as you know, in my work or our work, we work crazy hours, and all of a sudden I wasn't, and I didn't know what to do with myself, and I dived headlong, and I couldn't go out and buy comics, so I just dived into eBay and just started like going nuts buying shit on eBay, and I discovered, and I think a lot of us did. Obviously, we did. Prices went crazy.
Yeah.
The other thing was I just started like trying to like having 16 or 17 hours extra a day, like to do nothing, blew my mind. Like YouTube became like my TV channel, and I was drinking a lot of wine because why not? And it was awesome. It was actually I actually kind of missed the beginning. I think we're all gonna miss the first 2 months of COVID, just so you know.
Yeah. I mean, it was scary and unknown, but like for the most part, it was like great because everybody was on timeout.
Yeah, it was the whole world, right? Porpoises came back to Venice. Anyway, I discovered 3 Men in a Basement, and Everett and Roger and Dave and everyone were there, and they were just sitting around in his grotto drinking and talking comics.
Yeah,
and it just looked like so much fun. It looked like. Well, I was really lonely because I hadn't seen anyone like other friends at all, except for my family. And it just looked, I just wanted to hang out there. And I thought, God, that looks like so much fun. I should try doing this. I collect comics. So I had a bunch of CGC books coming back. And it was weird because they got graded in the first 2 weeks of COVID. And I'm not going to lie, I got the gift grades of the century on all of them. Like it was kind of incredible. Like when they came back, I was like jaw dropping, happy. And I decided I think I had 100 books. And so I split it in 25 per video and did 4 videos. And the response was really good. And I started meeting people. And the best thing about it is I'm not as much a content guy as like a hangout guy. I love just talking comics, like doing what we're doing right now. Right. And I've got to meet like guys like you and the guys at 3 Man and Newbie and Ryan and Automatic, and there's so many. I could just list them. There's so many. And I also consider most of them my friends now. Like we talk frequently. And I actually talk to them more than I talk to my normal friends, which is ridiculous, but it's true. And I just love this little community we've created in this short span of time. And it's simply, I thank COVID for all of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm totally, kind of in your same boat in that sense. I mean, we work in the same industry, and when COVID was down, it was like always interested in YouTube stuff, and I was like, let me just make some videos. Why not? I got time. And I'm similar in that sense, and it's been great. Now we get to like have fun live streams like this and hang out with everybody and talk to you. And we're gonna later on play Spec, Collect, Forget, and have some fun. It's a great time.
I have to say though, like with you, I commend you for your professionality, and I mean your subs like are a tribute to that. Like you have like incredible amount of subs. I think I have 700 or 600. I don't even know how much. Actually, I don't even pay attention. That's but I
Go sub him up.
yeah, sub me up, guys.
Sub him up. Sub him up.
I'm not here to make money or anything like that. It's just to hang out and do this stuff. But you're consistent. You have great videos. You hit so many different angles. You make a lot of people happy with this channel. I just want you to know that. I think you're a real good niche in this world.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that. I got to say what's up to another great YouTuber, Comic Forge. What's going on, man? Comic Forge is 1/3 of the Pressable Defects, another great YouTube channel. Go check them out in case you haven't. Empire Comics, also another great YouTuber. Got to shout out all the YouTubers here in the chat right now. Go check him out. He's got some great comic book videos. I'm always watching his stuff. So everybody go check him out. Go sub him up.
Those Pressable Defects guys are the funniest. I love those guys.
Oh yeah.
It's so entertaining. Yeah, I want to get paired with them.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a great, the trilogy of personalities. It's like I could watch a sitcom with the
absolutely, right?
It's somehow in the works, a comic book collecting sitcom. Hey, we work in film, you and I, so maybe we'll pitch them a show or something like that. All right. Well, that's just kind of wanted to get a little bit about, Chris here and just kind of, do a little bit of an interview, but there is some news that I wanted to kind of talk about before we get into our Spec Collect Forget game. It's always kind of interesting to see what some of the, happenings in the comic book pop culture sphere are and how they relate to comic books here. So we got to talk about What If first, so I don't know about you guys here, but I don't know if you guys saw What If. We might do What If spoilers if we start talking about it. So just here's your spoiler warning right now. But we don't have to talk about the episode necessarily, although I do want to get your thoughts on it. But it was announced that, here you can see it from this headline, Marvel Studios planning multiple new animated series following the debut of What If. So I guess my first question to you is, did you watch What If? What did you think? And then knowing that Marvel's going to be doing more animated stuff, are you excited about that? What's your feeling?
I just watched it just before we did this, like an hour ago. And I loved it. It's funny because some people have been saying they didn't like the animation style from the trailers and stuff, but I loved the animation style. It was very cinematic. It felt like I was worried that it was it's just like some throwaway cartoon that doesn't connect, but it feels Kevin Feige many years ago said that he wanted all the movies and TV and stuff to always feel like you were picking up monthly issues. And it's really starting to feel like that. He's creating what he said he wanted to create. And this is like picking up an issue of What If. It really is. And it just cinematically. And I think they nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Yeah.
I didn't mind the animation too. I mean, a couple people in the chat mentioned they didn't really like it. I can understand if you don't really like it, although I'm not really sure, it was the expectation to be more of a Pixar level, more photo real kind of thing. I don't really know. It feels like this was an aesthetic they went for, and does it succeed at that aesthetic? Absolutely,
Oh, but those Pixar movies, as we both know, are 250 to 300 million per movie.
Yeah. The amount of frames that they're doing for those Pixar movies compared to the amount of frames that they had to do for this is completely different. But I watched What If. I definitely enjoyed it. I do wonder, and this is probably my own issue, is that I think sometimes, us in the comic book collecting community, we can get often excited about what does this all lead to? How does it all connect? Or what does this all mean and everything? And I think I watched the show and it was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And here she is as Captain America. And we kind of went through the first Avenger and that was it. And maybe I was expecting more.
I think what you said is one of the reasons I wasn't excited about it, because I was like, we just got off Loki, which just changed the entire MCU for the next 5 years.
Right.
At the end of it, and that's incredible that a TV series has is going to be a part of multi-billion-dollar movies, blah blah blah, and go on forever. And this just seems like a throwaway, but and that's why I didn't want to watch it. But once I watched it, you're watching it's like multiverse stuff. This all could link into weird little ticks here and there. I think we should be watching this a little bit closer than we think.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I do think that it was the first episode, so who knows where it goes. But
it could. In there was that?
It was a tentacle monster. That's for sure.
There's a few of those. Yeah.
So I feel like maybe. I mean, ultimately, if they're starting to tease us with tentacle monster beings, I feel like that octopus thing that we saw was the gateway drug to Lovecraftian, elder god stuff that they eventually have to sell us on, which, at this point, I feel like,
Try to pick
Marvel.
this up then, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Submariner 13, right?
Yeah.
That one, I just found that one. So I'm in the club officially, which I'm excited about here. I did want to highlight something here. What if Mephisto appeared in WandaVision? Dude.
That's awesome.
Honestly, like if they were, if Marvel was in on its own joke, this is such an episode that I feel like they could totally do.
I agree. They can't
the,
they can never use Mephisto long term. Because
you don't think so?
I really don't think they can. Well, I mean, they may have plans for it, but if they bring in Mephisto, it's going to feel like a joke at this stage because of how let down everyone was. But
but maybe people will just be so hyped. I mean, I feel like Mephisto has so many connections to like all the potential characters that it just feels like, why not bring him on the table? And I feel like, I know that's the meme that, he's not showing up, but I definitely still think at some point.
But I think we need more teams and more, like, they're setting up like a new MCU, like a street level stuff with Luke Cage, Daredevil, all this Moon Knight over here, cosmic stuff over here, the Far East over here, and then they have, Shield and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different levels to Marvel they have to set up over the next few years, or at least that seems to be the plan. Once that gets set up, they could fit that villain into one of those places.
Yeah, that's totally true.
Because like you need the villain because we have like Kang right now. That's a pretty big one. And it seems like we're getting a couple more coming up. It's like, how many villains could we need people to fight these things.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true. Well, speaking of villains, going on to our next little piece of news here. Now, you can't put too much stock into toy leaks. But sometimes toy leaks can be totally accurate and have proven to be true over time and everything. And this particular toy leak came out just the other day. This is one of those pops, Marvel pops, and in the Marvel pop brand or line, I should say, that comes with She-Hulk, they are creating a figure for the leader here. So this has been popular speculation for a long time that the leader might make his way into the MCU. Of course, in Incredible Hulk back in 2008, they did set that up with Tim Blake Nelson. I don't know if you remember that particular scene.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of been this loose plot thread that has been open-ended for this whole time. But thoughts on the leader? What do you feel about the leader? Do you have an opinion on him as a character?
I love the Hulk. I love the Hulk, and the Hulk had very limited villains, and the leader, in my opinion, was probably his number one villain.
Yeah.
And saying that, he also kind of sucked. He was never great. But didn't you just buy his first appearance recently?
I got another copy. I have 2 copies.
Nice. Oh, someone's in on it.
Yes, I am in on the leader.
I am too. I just think it was a no-brainer. Like, eventually he was going to come along. Do I think that this is a leak that's actually showing something? I wouldn't doubt if they hint upon it. I don't. She-Hulk. I've been hearing that She-Hulk's going to be like Ally McBeal.
Yeah,
it's like the style of it,
right?
Which sounds kind of awesome in a lot of weird ways. But like, I'm curious. I'm just curious, like, what angle they're going to go with it. I don't know. It could work. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like if they're going to go kind of be a little bit irreverent in like how they handle the show, maybe it has some sitcom or not sitcom, but comedy elements to it. Yeah. Maybe that's their way in for the leader, right? I mean, it's a hard character, I feel like, to sell in as
you got to set up a guy like this slowly. Like you can't just show up in the sky, like blowing up the skyline, and everyone's got to go attack him. It's like, you got to take your time with a guy with a head like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, and Azur's Tigers know this. I mean, I always talk about this cartoon called Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and we don't need to go into a long rant about why I think it's a viable show to watch for, interesting Marvel spec. But the leader plays a big role in it. He leads a team of Abomination and the Wrecking Crew, who have also been kind of thought to be maybe a part of the She-Hulk show. So I don't know. I feel like the leader just makes sense to bring him in some kind of way.
I want to throw it on the table. Azor's Tiger fucking rules. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Great dude. Definitely another YouTuber. Azor's has recently been putting out some videos, so definitely go check out his channel. Of course, he's also a member of the Spine Ticks crew. great group of guys. So definitely go check out Spine Ticks if you guys haven't seen him either. Just YouTube this stuff. Azores is there right there. Just click on his name and hop over to his channel and give him a sub.
I can't do Spine Ticks because it's like a marathon. It's like you got to invest like 9 hours of these.
You do. Yes. As someone like you who maybe has to deal with work and kids and stuff, it's gonna be tough to stay up as late as the Spine Ticks crew does.
But it's like there's only so much I can take. But it's saying that in pieces, it's great. Like they're really all very informative people.
Yeah, great group of guys. Very unique, eclectic group, which is always really fun.
Oh yeah.
All right, going on now to the next little piece of news here. We got some Tom Hardy already plans Venom 3 because the studio is very pleased with Let There Be Carnage. Now, I kind of feel like I've heard rumblings out of you about, I don't know, maybe like a little dismissive towards the Carnage, Venom, Amazing Spider-Man 300, yada, yada, yada. I mean, but what is your feeling on Venom so far?
You know what? I'm not dismissive of it. I mean, the first Venom movie wasn't great. And I think almost anyone can agree to that. It wasn't a pinnacle MCU movie by any stretch, or even a Sony MCU movie. But Venom's awesome. Like that character is like rad, and I love the ASM 300. My issue, there's a little controversy with myself and Newbie Comics. Newbie Comics, you should check out his YouTube channel. I'm a big believer in that. This book went through the roof recently, like so high, went insane, and I think that right now is the greatest time in history to sell that book because you'll be able to pick the book up for 40 to 50% cheaper next year. It's an iconic book, but it's just going to go by the wayside once this movie lets us down. I'm just kidding. I just don't think it's going to be awesome. Sony doesn't really make awesome movies when the MCU is not attached. And the MCU isn't really attached to this. This is truly a Sony movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with you. I mean, it's like, the Sony movies have definitely left a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going to happen with this movie. I didn't love the first Venom, so it's like, I'll definitely go watch the second one. We'll see how it goes.
Me too.
I think this is interesting here that they're, plans to do Venom 3. I guess this is I wonder if it's like, okay, if they're doing a Venom 3, does this mean that we're going to get like more Carnage, or do you who else is in the Venom rogue gallery of bad guys that they're going to throw him up against? What would you guess?
My gut actually says is that this article comes up. I've been following movie news as you have my whole life. I'm a junkie for movie stuff, and I'm in the industry and stuff. Whenever they do articles like this before a movie comes out, it usually means the movie's not particularly great.
Yeah. If this is a PR company pushing good news.
A little bit. It's like our movie's so amazing that we're going to do a third one before we see this one.
That's true.
But again, I'm going to see the movie. I'll see it in the theater too. So
yeah,
I'll support it.
I don't know. We'll see.
So you were saying, but the villains, I don't know what other villains I would. You'd have to go into MCU villains as opposed to just this.
I mean, it feels like they're going to want to make a Tom Holland, Tom Hardy type of thing, right? So it feels like if they can do a Venom 3, they're going to figure out how to do that. And that could be what they do, a Venom versus Spider-Man type of movie. But, I don't know.
I will fall in love with Venom again if they pull that off.
Right.
I really will, because I'm probably shitting on this movie too much. I don't know what it's going to be like. Isn't what's his name? Andy Serkis directed this, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Golem. Yeah. So who knows? He's definitely knows how to act like a CGI character. I don't know if that translates into filmmaking, but we'll certainly see. If you got it.
Sorry, I was just noticing Matt Sherman's asking us what we do in the film industry.
Oh, let's see. Where's Matt here?
He's a movie trailer editor. That's rad.
Oh, okay.
That's
very cool.
Job. Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a few friends who actually are in the movie trailer editing world as well. So maybe there's people we have in the same circle of friends or something like that, which is interesting. I got to say what's up to Hyper Combo Comics. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Thanks for hopping in the channel. Also got to say what's up to Sal. What's going on? Good to see you, man. Can it bring in Black Cat? That's an interesting character for sure. Is there precedent with Black Cat and Venom in the comic books? I don't really know. as
don't
far as
either.
like their stories intertwining, but you never really know. But I think it's interesting because, you know, if they do a Venom 3, you know, maybe that ASM 300 has more legs than we all think that
it absolutely does. No, but if like you look at any book, okay, right now, like Miss Marvel #1 is a book I look at, and it's like, and when that movie came out in 98, I think sold for $3,800 like 3 months before the movie came out, Captain Marvel. And then you could pick them up for $700 a year and a half later. I'm not saying that they're the same book. They're not. But saying that, this happens to every book. And they go like this. New Mutants 98, potentially one of the most popular characters ever of the of Marvel, went down to $750 at one point for a 98 a few years ago. And now it's on its way up because there is more Deadpool to be found coming. It's just like this, man. It's just like this. And you just got to buy at the wall.
That's true. Just play it like the stock. Buy the dip, sell the top, buy back in, everything like that. Matt Sherman here said, I got to point this out because this is funny. Matt Sherman here did Into the Spider-Verse and many others. That's really awesome, dude. Like, that's an awesome movie to have done. And I would say right now, everyone in the chat is probably going to spam Matt for some Marvel leaks, because if you're seeing that footage while you're editing the trailer, you might have some inside info.
What other trailers you doing?
Yeah. What other trailers and who is coming and is the leader confirmed? Just let us know, Matt. Just wink in the chat if you actually have confirmation.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
it's it's funny, and I met these guys who do music for trailers, like, and that's all they do. They create music for trailers, and it was some of the greatest music I've ever heard. I can't remember their names either, but they were like this little consortium, and it's some of the greatest music ever. But they could never like make a movie, like they could never compose music for a movie because they're just all they can do is these like 2-minute pieces so incredibly. I just don't think they could pull off like a 4-minute scene. Like, oh my God, it was good.
It's crazy. It's great work. Well, that is all the news we have. You know, just a few interesting things that have kind of popped up recently that I kind of wanted to talk about with everybody here in the chat. But we got to move on to our next segment of the show. The thing that everyone here has been waiting for. This is the game that I call Spec, Collect, Forget. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with Spec, Collect, Forget, what it is basically like the game F, Marry, Kill. Now, Chris, have you ever played the game F, Marry, Kill in your life?
Yes, I have.
Well, in case you're out there, you know, watching this on the rewind or in the chat, F, Marry, Kill is a game that, you know, maybe you played this in middle school or high school, where you name 3, say, celebrities, Beyonce, Rihanna, Lady Gaga, and you have to pick which one you would F, you know, you'd bang, you'd screw that one. You'd have a one-night stand with her.
I think the term Spock.
Or guy, yeah, I know. Well, now we're gonna get demonetized. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. So yeah, you can F, you can marry, put that ring on it. You're gonna collect that thing. You're gonna bring it home with you, live with it forever, and then you're gonna forget. You're gonna burn that one. You're gonna kill it. You're gonna let that one go. So we here play the comic book rendition of that game here, and I'm gonna name 3 comic books. And Chris, you're gonna have to tell me which one you want to spec, which one you want to collect, and which one you want to forget. And you know, the most important thing here is that I'm going to need the audience's participation with this one, because as Chris gives us his picks, we're going to look to the audience to give us a 1 if you agree with his picks, or give us a 2 if you disagree. And you know, again, there's no prizes. It's just a game. There's no winners or losers, but you know, there at times can be judgment passed upon our participant here. So we'll have to get, you know, the audience reactions and see if they are feeling your picks here. So does that all make sense, Chris?
100%.
All right, cool. All right. Well, let's then carry on with our game here. We got Spec, Collect, Forget. Let's go to our first round of picks. Now, our first round is an interesting one. This is some Copper Age X-related characters here. We got X-related characters. We have Longshot #1, X Factor #24, and Uncanny X-Men #244. Of course, Longshot #1 is the first appearance of the character known as Longshot. X Factor 24 is the maybe debatable now, but the first appearance, certainly the first cover appearance of Archangel, the new version of the Angel character created by Apocalypse. And Uncanny X-Men 244, that is the first appearance of the character known as Jubilee. Now, Let me know what you're thinking here. Let's hear your thoughts. Spec, Collect, Forget. What are you feeling? And chat, let us know what you're thinking as well.
This is great. This is a really difficult one to do, actually. My gut says this. I would spec Long Shot. I would marry Jubilee, and I would forget X Factor, the Archangel. It's only because he's because I mean we've got Angel, right? So like that, even if Archangel like got into the MCU, this book would go up obviously, but Angel would go up even more because that's where it's based off of, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well,
that's how I see it.
Okay, that's interesting picks. Well, come on, everyone here in the chat here, let us know what you think. Give us a 1 if you agree with Chris's picks here. Give us a 2 if you disagree. And while the votes kind of come in, I do got to give a shout out to Trilogy here for the super chat. $10. Thank you, man. That is really, really kind of you. If you're not first, you're last. Definitely Talladega Nights. If you're not first, you're last. And, depending on how the votes come in, we're going to see if Chris is first or last here. So
what do you think of Long Shot number 1? Yourself.
I mean, look, it's not up to me. I think Long Shot is a long shot for the MCU. But who really knows? I mean, he's a cool character.
Man. Like in the 80s, like that book was massive. Like that character was awesome. When he'd show up, people were excited. Probably because the artist, Art Adams, was such a big deal before McFarlane. Yeah. But saying that, I just knowing that guys my age love that character so much, I could see him being implemented once mutants are involved in the MCU, and I can see him being a big deal.
It is really interesting. I do think he's a cool character. My only feeling about him is that it's like, to me, he feels like he's far down the totem pole of X-Men that you got to bring in. So like, in order for him to come in, we're going to need like 5 successful X-Men movies before they end up bringing him. But who really knows? Who really knows what they decide to do? Well,
yeah, you're dead right.
Checking in the chat here, we got Joe with a 2, Empire with a 2, Dan with a 1, Trilogy with a 1, Rob with a big 1, Sal with the 2, Jason with the 1, Noah with the 1, Carnival with the 1, Hammer with the 1. So overall, I feel like, more ones than not. I'd say it's like a 70% here. So overall, people feeling it. Yeah, I mean, Azur's here with the 1. Interesting here. I have a personal bias towards Archangel myself. I just happen to like him as a character, but there's a lot of controversial things here, that you can make the argument it's not his first appearance. Additionally, it's not Angel. He's not the first appearance in that sense. True. So, hard to say with that book.
It's like a version of him. It's like the other night I was getting shit at Newbie because I didn't think Hulk 2, where it's like Green Hulk, was a better book than another book just because he was Green Hulk.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we already saw the Hulk. It's like, it's green.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, good to know. Not feeling slight tweaks of character appearances, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on to the next round here. We got to always kind of mix it up. We can't always just have Marvel stuff, right? We got to have some 80s stuff. You might have been an 80s kid, so we have to talk about 80s comic books here. We got Spec, Collect, Forget, some amazing cartoons from the 80s. We have Transformers #1. We got Silverhawks #1, which is a kind of a new hot Spec book if you've been following some apps out there in the comic book collecting world. And then we got Thundercats #1. So first appearance here of Transformers. Of course, we all know Transformers. Say what you will about the Michael Bay films. We got first appearance of Silverhawks in comic books. Interesting cartoon from back in the day. And we have first appearance of Thundercats. Silverhawks is slated to be developing a show. And then Thundercats apparently is going to get a movie by the director of the recent Godzilla movie, I believe it was. But Spec, Collect, Forget. Let me know what you're thinking here. How you feeling on this one? In chat, definitely let me know what you're thinking as well.
Well, I this one's easier for me. Transformers, I'm marrying, no problem. I mean, I got a 9/8 sitting back there. I love that book. It's I think it's a book everyone should have in their collection. It's literally like a truly top 10 80s book. Everyone should have it in any grade you can get. Thundercats, it never imprinted on me as a young man. I think I was just a little too old for it when it came out. And I just can't visualize a live action version of it. Because I don't know if you saw Cats, the movie Cats.
Yeah, I did. I mean,
imagine that with swords and sandals and shit and laser beams.
Wow, that's true. I never thought of Thundercats turning out like cats, but geez,
very easily could.
Yeah, you definitely made me think.
Even with buttholes and stuff, it's gonna be fucked up. But saying that, Silverhawks is hot garbage too. It's truly hot garbage.
Yeah.
But I did dig it as a kid. I thought there was some toys and stuff. It was kind of fun, and it does like scratch that little thing. So it's but I would probably spec on the Thundercats, and get rid of the Silverhawks.
Silverhawks. No love for Monstar. Okay, one of the premier villains of all time. Monstar. If you guys remember that one right there. Well, we got Chris here marrying Transformers #1. He's going to collect that. He's going to burn, forget Silverhawks #1, and he's going to spec on Thundercats #1. Yeah. Let me know in the chat what you guys think here. How do you feel he did on his pick? Give him a 1 if you agree. Give him a 2 if you disagree here. I feel like people are going to agree. I saw a lot of buys for Silverhawks here. So Clyde has pressing issues with the 1 here. Ian with the 1. Trilogy with the 1. Carnival with the 1. Empire with the 1. Dan with the 1. Sal with the 1. No denying. I think you got it right all across the board. Agreed. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. So very, very interesting. I got to say, it's not my place to vote in these types of things. I'm the host of the show, but this one is so clear to me as well that I myself also have to give you a 1. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. A 1 in the chat. My first vote as the host of this show, which I think is really interesting because, I try, to be pretty diligent about when I pick these things to have them be in the same value range. And it's interesting to think that at this point in time, the Transformers book is almost around the same. We're talking raw prices here, around the same prices as some of those other books, which is pretty crazy to me if you think about it.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. We have some interesting ones. I think this one might be a little tricky, although it's hard to say because you are such a Hulk guy that I had to give you kind of a Hulk slide here. We have Spec, Collect, Forget. We got some Hulk covers. We got some iconic Hulk covers. We got Tales to Astonish #93. We got Fantastic Four #112, and we got Incredible Hulk annual #1. So of course, Tales to Astonish '93, the beautiful Silver Surfer Hulk cover there, classic one. We got Fantastic Four 112, Hulk versus Thing, Nuff Said, right, a battle cover, and then we got Incredible Hulk annual #1. Great annual cover there, him holding up his own name. 3 classic covers, 3 Incredible Hulks. You are a Hulk guy. Spec, Collect, Forget. How you feeling? And let us know also in the chat what you guys are feeling as well.
Well, first of all, I want to say fuck you for putting me in this position because there's not one bad book up there.
Yep.
They're all incredible. So I apologize to anyone who I offend in this one, but my gut says right now I would, and this is more just like the child in me picking these, not even investment.
Yeah, you don't have to. You can pick.
The Fantastic Four. Is it 112? The Hulk versus. Yeah, I love that book, and I have since I was a kid. And by the way, incredibly difficult to get over an 8.0 on that book.
Oh yeah, that black cover. It's tough.
It took me years to. I have a 9.4, and it took me literally 20 years to find it. And yeah, I'm super happy. I love that book, and man. And that's it's God. This is really difficult, man. I would probably, and that Steranko Hulk cover, I'd probably spec that because that book's always going to be a smoke show because of the cover alone. And
so to clarify, so we're going Ring on the
Ring on
112.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm going to spec Steranko. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I guess unfortunately, it's crazy that I'm throwing that book away.
Damn.
Which is nuts. It goes against
burning Silver Surfer right there. Just burning it down, man. That is pretty crazy. Well, let us know in the chat what you guys think. Give us a 1 or give Chris a 1 if you agree with his picks here. Give us a 2 if you disagree. But man, he just had to lay the beat down on that Incredible Hulk in Tales to Astonish #93. A little something like this. Just beam it down, beam him down.
Hey, I gotta say, Infinity War and Endgame, I think they're like amazing, like truly amazing movies. Like beyond just like being a comic fan, they're just great movies.
Yeah.
But Infinity War, I think, is the better movie. Like that, it's incredible. Like I've watched it every so often. I'll have like a couple glasses of wine, maybe a few too many, and I'll want to watch like a movie late at night. I throw that movie on so often. And
totally.
I
think Infinity War is like just when we're talking about like consistency of like just being immersed in something and constantly being like driven and pushed on the edge of your seat. I feel like it's one of the best movies done in that sense. I think Endgame is a great film, but like you need the entire journey to feel the feelings. So I think you're right here, but we got to check in with the chat here and see what they said. Empire Comics with the 1 here, Jason with the 1, Fallen with the 1 here. We got Joe with the 2. We got Rob here, 1 for sure. It was close. Circumstances with the 1, Carnival with the 2, Nowhere Bound with the 2, tough call. Sal with the 1, Trilogy with the 2, Clyde with the 1. I would flip the Spec and collect, but not mad at these picks. All right. So overall, I mean, I feel like kind of a mixed bag. Mixed bag here. We got Hammer with the 1, the late 1 coming in. So I feel like, generally speaking, maybe this was like a 60-40, but hard to make the wrong or right pick depending on how you look at it here. All of these are great books.
This was like something out of the movie Saw. Like I was going to lose.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, going on to the next round, this one is really interesting, okay? You know, and like I kind of prefaced before, I try to pick books that are around the same sort of value range, so to kind of make it interesting. But this one right here, Spec, Collect, Forget, we have some very unique, different books. So depending on how you feel about these characters, could be really easy, could be tough. But Spec, Collect, Forget, we have Daredevil number 168, we have Incredible Hulk 271, and Marvel Premiere number 47. So Daredevil 168, maybe you're a Frank Miller fan, first appearance of Elektra. Incredible Hulk 271, first appearance of Rocket Raccoon in comic books, not technically his first, but for all intents and purposes, we can say it's his first. And then Marvel Premiere 47, featuring the astonishing Ant-Man, first appearance of Scott Lang as Ant-Man. 3 interesting books here, Spec, Collect, Forget. Definitely let us know in the chat what you guys are thinking. I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts, everybody's thoughts all around here.
Dude, this is challenging. This is a very challenging one. My heart is always with Daredevil 168. I think that's like surely one of the most iconic bronze/copper age books ever. I guess you would say bronze. I adore it. And honestly, I think that Miss Nachos has got a huge future in the MCU when they reinvent her.
Okay.
We're talking years from now, but so I would marry that one.
Okay.
The hard one for me is these two. But if I was a betting man for if I was specking, I would spec on. I think that Ant-Man book is severely undervalued. Severely, even today, it really truly is. I don't think that actor and that character are going anywhere anytime soon, even though Paul Rudd's like 50, but it looks like he turned 27.
Yeah. One of the best, whatever his secret is, I need to know it.
It's baby's blood, man.
Yeah.
And Rocket Raccoon, in my heart, I feel like they're going to kill him in the next movie. I don't know why. I just feel
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So that we're saying we're going to spec on Ant-Man here.
Premiere. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then we're going to burn Incredible Hulk 271.
And I don't like it, man. I don't like it.
My goodness. All right. Well, Daredevil 168 first Elektra. We're going to put the ring on it here. Incredible Hulk 271. We're burning that thing. And Marvel Premiere 47. Chat, you know what to do. Let us know your thoughts on this one. 1's in the chat if you agree. 2's in the chat if you disagree here. And, it's really interesting. I mean, I feel like this one was a tough one and had a lot of deliberation. It took a little while for you to kind of ramp up to your choice. But once you knew your choice, your strikes were swift and true, a little something like this. How many people out there know that Monty Python reference? Please tell me you know it.
Just so everyone knows, I just bought my first copy of Incredible Hulk 271 like 2 weeks ago. I love that book. Really? I still think it's a great book. This is why this is very difficult. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope you guys appreciate my Monty Python reference.
It was great. You gotta
take down the Incredible Hulk 271. We gotta see what the people here think of your picks. We got Joe with the 1 here, Nowhere Bound with the 1, Clyde with the 2. These are brutal, but Trilogy with the 2, 1 here with Hammer, Jason. Oh, the chat went crazy. Jason with the 2, Sal with the 1, Fallen with the 1, Carnival with the 1, Dan with the 2.
Dan with the 2. What?
Dan with the 2. You're not feeling that. You know, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I feel like the Electra one might be an interesting conversation in this one. I know there's a lot of
people are too wrapped up in the Netflix series. I truly do. I think
it's possible. It's possible.
That's my thinking.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got to pick one of them. I tried to make it hard. That's why it's kind of fun. I feel like that one was a kind of a mixed bag as well. But, I think you guys at least can appreciate the.
I'm going to call you Jigsaw from here on in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's what I need. I need some memes that are like Saw memes, both books going at the same time. All right. Moving on to the next batch here. I don't know how to set this one up because I genuinely forgot what's behind the curtain. So we're just going to pull this away. Spec, Collect, Forget. We got some future books here. We got some Marvel, the future, right? We're calling it the future because these are all future superheroes coming out here. We got Inhumans #5, of course, first appearance of Yelena Belova, the sister of Black Widow, right? And then she made her appearance in the Black Widow movie. We have Invincible Iron Man #9. This is the first full appearance of Riri Williams, Disney show soon to come. And we got Vengeance #1, first appearance of America Chavez, set to make her premiere in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie. We got Marvel's future here, the next generation of characters. Spec, Collect, Forget. How you feeling on this one? Let me know in the chat how you guys are feeling as well. I think this is an interesting one.
It's really interesting. Again, these are all really tough, especially this one. I love this game, by the way, man. It's really great.
Good.
The hardest part about this is that we're talking about some characters we don't even know at all cinematically, and I feel like this is really tough. My gut says to marry Ironheart, Invincible Iron Man 9, which I just bought 2 copies of recently. I believe I'd marry that. I would spec on Vengeance.
Okay.
And I hate to admit it, I would burn the other one because I think that at this stage, it's all incremental in the spec on that book.
Right.
Like it's already kind of had its heyday. We've seen her, and it's everything's just kind of peaks and valleys from here on.
Yeah.
The other one has potential to fucking explode.
That's definitely a fair point. I mean, definitely, there's some insinuation she might show up in Hawkeye, but like as far as the mass excitement is concerned, hard to know what the next spike for that book is.
She's kind of had her first appearance in the real world.
Right. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Well, chat, you know what to do. Let us know your thoughts here. 1, if you agree here. 2, if you disagree. I mean, to me, this one's kind of interesting because it feels like, how much do we want to value movie versus Disney Plus TV show? Or like how much we want to value like Riri, she's the title character of her show versus America Chavez is going to just show up in Doctor Strange. Hard to really say where you want to put that stock in. All right, well, checking in with the chat here, we got Carnival here. He's got the 2 coming out the gate. Not feeling this one. Trilogy here with the 1. We got Sal with the 1. We got Empire with the 1 here. We got Joe with the 1. Okay, a series of 1s overall. People generally starting to feel this one. Let's see here. Following with the great picks, but I will say Yelena will probably be a fan favorite over the others. Yeah, it seems like people liked Yelena. I mean, did you end up seeing Black Widow? Do you like Black Widow?
I walked into that movie much like What If, where I was like, meh. Simply because it took place in the past, and Black Widow never really landed with me anyway. Right. But I loved it. I thought it was great. It was fun, a fun movie, and she was shockingly great in it. That actress who played her, I look forward to her being in the next 20 years of the MCU.
Yeah, she definitely did a great job. Excellent. All right, we got some more votes here. Joe with the 1 here, Hammer with the 1, Dan with the 1, Nowhere with the 1. So a flurry of 1s there at the end feels like pretty definitive.
Would you even go so far to say I fucking nailed it?
I think you definitely nailed this one for sure. You absolutely
I'm just kidding.
Knocked it out of the park for sure. All right, going on to the next round here. We got some more picks. We're about halfway through. We've done really well so far. I think generally everybody is agreeing with generally how you've been picking here, but we got more picks to be had. We have to see Spec, Collect, Forget. We have some cosmic comic books here. We got some cosmic comic books.
Fuck.
We got Eternals #1. We got Nova #1. And we got Strange Tales 180. Of course, Eternals #1, first appearance of Icarus, first appearance of some of the Eternals, not all of them, but some of them in there. We got Nova #1, first appearance of Richard Rider Nova. And we got Strange Tales #180, first appearance of Gamora. So we kind of have some past, present, and future books here, right? We got Eternals is kind of the present, Nova, maybe it's the future, Strange Tales 180, Gamora, maybe that's the past, depending on how you want to frame it. But they're all cosmic characters here. Spec, Collect, Forget. How you feeling on this one?
This one's easy for me. I have a little bit of a story behind Eternals. I spec'd on Eternals before Eternals was a thing, and bought like 40 or 50 copies of it. What they were $5 each, and so the sales of those books built the foundation of my collection.
Interesting.
When I started collecting again, so I marry that book, no question.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I just love the book. I think it's a great book. I honestly, I think the trailers for Eternals are not particularly great, or at least the one we've seen. It was an oddball trailer. I think there's more to be had there. I'm really looking forward to seeing more. I'm definitely specking on Nova. I think Dick Ryder has a huge future in the MCU. Huge. Yeah. And honestly, Gamora, see ya. She's had her day in court. And no one's really particularly excited by Gamora. And you can tell by the sales of that book. It's never really been a premier book. The character never really lit the world on fire. Decent enough character, but not anything special.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you were, unlike the last one with the Monty Python where there was deliberation, this one you were very clear and sure about your pick. You stood there right in the face of Strange Tales 180 and shot it between the letters, just a little something like this.
Is that the best movie ever made?
Ooh, am I gonna stir some feathers with this one? Because I am on Team Last Crusade compared to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, wow. I'm one of those guys. But Indiana Jones is honestly one of my favorite franchises of all time.
It's so good.
That movie is 4. We're not talking about 4. We don't count 4.
Okay? After this, I'll tell you my 4 story. I got a great story about that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Amazing. Right. But thanks for that clip. That clip was awesome.
yeah, it's an all-time classic scene. Apparently, for those who know, a little film trivia, Harrison Ford was sick that day, right? He was supposed to do a whole fight choreographed thing, but in order to get around the fact that he couldn't do anything, he was like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I just shot him? And that's how they came up. All right, coming in with the chat here, we got Joe with the 1 here. We got Trilogy with the 1, Sal with the 1, Nowhere with the 1. We got Carnival with the 1, Hammer with the 1, Goodies with the 1, ones, all around here. We got some Pip the Troll. No love for Pip the Troll there. But everyone is feeling this one. Everyone agrees with your picks. That's not Pip the
Troll's first appearance, though.
It's I think it's his second appearance, right?
179.
Or maybe the next one is his first. I don't know. Second appearance.
It's 179. I just got a 9.4 in that.
Oh, nice. Mr. Nobody, what's going on, man? Sup, dudes? Mr. Nobody also with the 1 there. So everybody feeling this one. Empire with the late 1. So everybody feeling your picks. No love for Gamora. I think it's interesting. Eventually I got to do a video. Because, I don't know. This is just how I feel. But I got to do a video about the idea of characters being done. And how I don't feel like, now is such a great time. If you're a fan of Gamora, what a time to buy that book. Because it is super, super cheap. And, who knows? We're never really done. I mean, Gamora, even though we all know Nova is probably going to come, Charles or have a movie and everything like that. I mean, Gamora is definitely the most prominent character, right? I think it's fair to say. And
I think all those Guardians keys are severely undervalued, and I think they're going to light up next year once we start seeing stuff for the new movie and It's good. Yeah, they'll light up like crazy again. So I'd recommend Guardians keys right now.
Yeah, totally agree.
Over the next week or year.
All right, going on to the next round, we got Spec, Collect, Forget. We have some villain spec here. One of my favorite things to do is always spec on villains and talk about villain spec. I know villain spec is always not the most reliable, but when they're specking off of each other, you got to pick one here. So we got some undervalued villain spec, in my opinion. Undervalued villain spec. We got Thor number 134, Avengers number 55, and Tales to Astonish number 63. Thor 134, of course, first appearance of the High Evolutionary. Avengers 55, first appearance of Ultron. And Tales to Astonish 63, a character we talked about earlier in the show, first full appearance of the leader. So we get some classic villains here from the Silver Age. What are you thinking here, Chris? Let us know.
This one's super easy for me. It's super easy.
Okay. I think I know what you're going to go based on.
I think everyone does. I'm going to marry Thor because I not just because of the fact that High Evolutionary's in it, and I love that character, and really hope the best for that character entering the MCU at some point. Hopefully, Guardians 3. Saying that, I love that cover. I love every Thor cover by Kirby. I collect them slowly. I've been collecting them. There's not a bad cover at all. Incredible. I will spec on the first leader because I think we all know at some point that character could be awesome if done correctly. Yeah. And Ultron's been done. And if he comes back, it's just going to be another kick at the can, and it wasn't a particularly good kick at the can the first time. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Disappointing. I mean, Ultron, I think, is going to have a what if episode. So that could stir some excitement into the Ultron character. We never really know. But, Spec, Collect, Forget, your picks are in. You're marrying Thor 134 here, High Evolutionary, one of my personal favorite villains. Oh, yeah. Although I feel like I love all the villains. I mean, honestly. Burnin', Avengers 55, lighten that Ultron on fire, and Tales to Astonish 63. We're going to spec that. We feel that She-Hulk is going to bring the leader into the MCU. Let us know in the chat. What do you guys think? One's in the chat if you agree. Two's in the chat if you disagree here. Let us know your thoughts. All right, we got some early picks here. We got some Rob here with the 1. We got Fallen here with the 1. We got Empire. She's not totally gone. Oh, okay, it was with referencing Gamora here. We got that Avengers cover is sweet though. You like that Avengers cover? I feel like this is one of those things where it's like because Ultron is not on it, do people not like the appearance more? It's a cool cover. Definitely a cool cover. Yeah. It's no Thor 134, though. Yeah. All right. We got some other here. Mr. Nobody here coming in. Easy one for me. We got Rob with the 1. We got Trilogy with the 1. Hammer with the 1. Jesus with the 1. Fallen with the 1. I've got a Thor 134. So 1 with Nowhere Bound here. Sal with the 1 and Carnival with the 1. I think this is unanimous. Unanimous picks for you all around. Everybody is in total alignment, total agreement. Everybody is feeling your picks here. So some might even say I was a genius.
Absolutely. Some might say that you are almost as smart as the leader himself.
Possibly, yes. Yeah.
Possibly. All right. Going on to the next round here. We got 3 more rounds here. Hopefully these last 3 rounds are going to be interesting and tough choices. I think this one is going to be an interesting and tough one here. We got Spec, Collect, Forget. We have some horror books. I know you're a horror guy. I know you like your Bronze Age. So I had to try to find a good horror assembly of books here. We have Tomb of Dracula number 1, Marvel Spotlight number 2, and Strange Tales 169. We have first appearance of Dracula. We got first appearance of Werewolf by Night, and we have first appearance of Brother Voodoo. So we have some horror books here. Do you like vampires? Do you like werewolves? Or do you like Brother Voodoo here?
Okay, first of all, you're tearing my soul apart. There's not a bad book here. Not one is bad. I've spec'd heavily on all 3 of these. I love them all. Saying that, I now have to kill my babies. My favorite book in this group is I'd marry the Werewolf by Night, Marvel Spotlight 2.
Ooh, interesting.
I'll tell you what, I have an 8.5 copy and a couple like lower grades than that. I've had a hell of a time finding nice copies of this book. Unless you have shitloads of money. As I mentioned earlier, I buy most of my books raw and get them CGC'd. I'm just so difficult to find this book in this shape. And I just adore it. And it's also a rare book where it's like got comic panels on the cover, which I think is really cool.
It's interesting that you're one of the first people I've heard say that you like that style. A lot of people don't like that style, but
yeah, but those people don't have opinions, in my opinion. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. I think it's cool. It's just, you know why it's cool? Because it's not done very often, so it's kind of neat.
That's fair.
It's like that Fantastic Four book where it was on this. It was like you had to put it on the side and read it. John Byrne did in the 80s. I just like unique things. Saying that, I think Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night, has potential in the horror universe. So I would spec on Brother Voodoo. I think that all fingers point hard at him landing very, very strongly in the MCU, especially in the horror universe and going forward. And it kills me, literally kills me, to kill the Tomb of Dracula #1.
Damn.
I know. I have a couple copies myself. I think he's going to be a big part of the MCU horror world, and I just love that book. It's just an iconic 80s window box or 70s window box cover. I'm a huge window box cover fan too.
That's right. I do recall you saying that. Well, yeah, like Mr. Nobody says right here, you got to put a stake in the Dracula. One's in the chat if you agree with Chris's picks here. Two's in the chat if you disagree. This is a tough one. This is definitely a tough one.
Really
I mean,
tough.
I can understand the Werewolf by Night one. Werewolf by Night, of course. I feel like maybe he's the most known within the comic world, I'd say, of all these characters. Brother Voodoo, I don't know. It's hard to say. I
think Brother Voodoo is going to be huge in the next 5 years. I really do.
Yeah, let's see. It's interesting to me because Brother Voodoo is a character that I admittedly don't know too much about. Brother Voodoo, I haven't done my reading on him yet, so I'm interested to see, what he's all about or what they decide to do with him if they, in fact, bring him into the MCU.
Mickey, do you think if they bring Brother Voodoo, and it sounds like they're bringing him to the MCU, do you think they're going to call him Brother Voodoo? He'll be like Dr. Voodoo or something.
Yeah, I would think. I don't know.
Change it.
I don't know. Yeah, or Voodoo. Maybe they just call him Voodoo.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
All right, Rob here with the 2, following with the 1. Rob with the 2 again. That's 2 votes for the 2. Mr. Nobody with the 1. Carnival with the 1. Joe with the 1. Sal with the 2. Nowhere with the 1. Trilogy with the 1. Dan with the tough but 1. Empire with the 1. So, for the most part, again, everybody kind of feeling your picks here. This one definitely a tough one. I'm surprised that, people are so willing to have the Dracula be burned there. I feel like there's probably some
It's tough, man. That was a tough
Edwards. One. Yeah, this is a tricky one. I
got to throw it on the table too. Everyone who says 2 in here, contact me on IG and bring it to me. I actually want to hear your opinions. I want to. I just want to have the conversation. I think it's cool. Yeah, I love this show, man. This is great.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, here's the thing. Again, it's all in fun, and really, you can come at it from the perspective of a logical, I'm going to invest in this and spec on this, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, I like that you appeal to just your own personal bias or emotional side where you just like this
for it too.
And that's what you've got to do.
It shouldn't just be all mechanical, like money grubbing spec.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I love this. We all got in this because we love it a little bit.
Yeah.
Too, so
absolutely. Yeah. And that's what kind of makes it interesting.
Yeah.
All right. 2 more rounds here. This one is an interesting one. We got some big villains, some of the hottest books in the town. We got Spec, Collect, Forget. We got some of the premier villains, the hottest books right now for all of these villains. We got some Silver Age greats. We got ASM 50, first appearance of Kingpin. We got Avengers 8, first appearance of Kang the Conqueror. We got Fantastic Four 49, first full appearance of Galactus, second appearance of the Silver Surfer. Some of the hottest villain books there are right now. It was interesting as I was putting my list together. I just happened to notice that all 3 of these villain books are all kind of hovering around the same values across the board, which I thought was really, really interesting. So it was this is one that I'd love to hear your thoughts. I mean, again, no wrong answers here, but I feel like people are going to be invested for sure in some of these books. So it'll be interesting to see what the people feel about your picks here. So how you feeling? Spec, Collect, Forget.
Okay, so first of all, Jigsaw, you're a piece of shit for putting me in this position. I love you, but my God, this is a tough one. Holy. Well, I'm just gonna as a comic collector, a fan, a lover of this book for my whole life. and the greatest Silver Age cover there is. I'm gonna marry 50.
Ooh, okay, all right.
It is the comic collector's book.
I'll tell you what, it definitely feels like the collector's collector book.
It is, and also
in some kind of way.
Coming back, man. He's coming back.
Yeah.
And who knows how big he's going to be. Differently, I'm going to. Holy shit! Okay, this next one is going to.
Oh god, he's going to do it, guys. He's going to do it, guys.
I'm picking Galactus for the spec, and I'm going to burn Kang.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! All right, we'll let you talk it through. Talk it through.
I think long term, Galactus is a much more epic world with the heralds, and that could be monstrously huge. You put me in a no-win situation here. Is what you've done.
It's definitely a no-win situation.
I'm just going as the comic collector. That's just how I feel. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, this is why, we have this game. It's meant to be tough. You got to pick what you got to pick here. But overall, Chris is going to go with marrying that ASM 50 first appearance of Kingpin. He's going to spec on Fantastic 449. He's thinking that Galactus is going to make a huge, epic crossover event.
And we have more time. We haven't seen anything. We've already seen Kang.
That's true. And he's going to beat down Avengers 8. He's going to beat it down for America. He's going to beat up that villain and give him the send-off that villain deserves. A little something like this, like Sergeant Slaughter and G.I. Joe. We need to get you to watch G.I. Joe the movie, okay? By the time this is done, you're going to have to watch G.I. Joe the movie because
I laughed my tits off during that whole time. I couldn't. I was like overwhelmingly laughing. That was amazing. This is for the USA. Wow. It's
one of my favorite scenes of that entire movie. Hopefully, maybe by the time you watch it, you won't really remember. But
I'm gonna watch it with my kids this weekend for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully it holds up. Again, let us know in the chat if you guys think G.I. Joe 1 holds up or you've seen it recently, because I'm talking this movie very heavily, and I hope that you're not disappointed when you see it. But you guys know what to do. 1's in the chat if you agree with Chris's picks here. 2's in the chat if you disagree. Again, this is a tough one. This is definitely a hard one. But I thought it was really interesting because I did happen to notice that all these books are kind of hovering around the same values. I mean, give or take some, but given everything that's going on in the market, I mean, these things are all absolutely exploding, and you can't really go wrong. There's an argument for everything here. So I'm
also looking to upgrade my Spider-Man 50 right now.
Oh, interesting.
I want a 7.5 is what I want for it. So,
all right. Coming off here, Fallen with the 1 here. We got Goodies with the 1, Hammer with the 1, Joe with the 1, Mr. Nobody with the 1, Fallen with the 1, Frank with the 1, Nowhere with the 1, Rob with the 2, Dan with the 1, and have Chris put his tits back on. 1 very respectable 1, Cosmic Journey with a 2, and Sal with the 1. Wow, I'm really amazed that there is like kind of an agreement here in the chat. I feel like there's like 90% agreeing with your picks here. I'm totally surprised. Not a lot of Kang fans out there.
I don't know if it's not a lot of Kang fans, but I feel like right now Kang's fresh. It's really fresh, so we're not trusting it yet. Whereas these other 2 books, long term, have always been fairly iconic books.
That's true.
So Kang's always been very like third rate for many years, even though he is cool and potentially could be amazing. Yeah. But I think the true comic collectors seem to be agreeing with me.
That is actually a great way to put it. I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, Avengers 8 has always been kind of a cool book, something that people like, but you're right that, the Kingpin and the Galactus one, as far as collectors are concerned, those seem to be the go-tos.
They've been pricey for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, coming into the final round here, we made it 9 rounds so far. We're going into our 10th. Chris, you've done incredible so far, but you're not out of the woods. Okay. This is it. This is the big final round. We got some Grail books to talk about. Okay. We got some Bronze Age Grail books. Spec, Collect, Forget. We got Giant Size X-Men #1. We have Marvel Spotlight #5. And we got ASM 129. Some Grail Bronze Age books. Giant Size X-Men #1, of course, first appearance of Storm and Colossus and Nightcrawler, and second Wolverine, third Wolverine, whatever you want to call it. Marvel Spotlight 5, first appearance of Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, and Amazing Spider-Man 129, first appearance of the Punisher. So Spec, Collect, Forget. Let us know in the chat, of course, what you guys would do here. Chris, you're in the hot seat. How you feeling?
It's a no-win situation, is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
But we can talk this out. We're going to talk this out.
That's what we have to do.
I have actually bought all 3 of these books in the last year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. These are 3 of the most iconic Bronze Age keys in my mind there are for Marvel. And throw in a little Hulk 181, and there's about 3 more, and that you've got all the majors in my mind. But I love all 3 of these books deeply, and I just got a Marvel Spotlight 5 recently, and it's off to CGC through Express, so I should have it back in a couple of weeks, which you're going to be on that video for. So okay. I love it. But iconic-wise, I'm going to marry the Giant Size X-Men #1.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to marry that. This is where it gets tough because I love Punisher. I'm trying to think both as an investor, but also as a fan. It's really, because they're equal books. They're very, in my mind, they're equal books. But I bring myself back to when I was a young man in the 80s. A lot of people forget Punisher was as popular for a little while as Wolverine. Or even Spider-Man. There was an era where he was monstrous.
Yeah. I kind of feel like Punisher's kind of like, I feel like he's like in everybody's top 3 favorite superheroes. When you talk about comic collectors, like it just feels like, at one point everybody was all up in.
But as an investor, I look at what could Marvel do with him now in this new era that we live in right now? Because really, he's just this right-wing psychopath who kills whoever without any rules. Which is like a fantasy of the 80s. It's a total Reaganomics fantasy, which does not fit now. So I'm very curious how they're going to play him in the MCU.
Yeah.
Saying that,
no, I mean, not to derail, but we're just, we're building hype at the moment. But I would love to see we've gotten emo Punisher quite a lot. I'd love to see Punisher in the Marvel world, though. And I'm not saying that we need like a PG-13 Punisher, but I feel like maybe just a little more disgruntled, humored Punisher would be cool to see.
I was going to throw on the table, if I was going to bring Punisher to the MCU, I would lean more towards Deadpool's tone than I would towards like a hyper-realistic tone.
Yeah, I think that's...
Whereas he's like this bombastic guy who might even be a little stupid, with and he's just like a weapon. He's like the Hulk. Yeah. You just like point him in the right direction and he just goes. But then that's me, So what I'm going to do is this. Ghost Rider, I love Ghost Rider. I mean, he's so iconic and so amazing and so great. But he's been, I could see them fucking him up too. He's a hard one to nail, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna spec on Spider-Man, the Punisher.
Specking on Punisher.
And it kills me to say this. It just kills me, but I'm going to burn the other one.
Sending Ghost Rider back to Mephisto's realm. We are burning Ghost Rider, the most expensive Bronze Age comic book ever to be sold. The 9.8 going for $250K or whatever it was.
Oh, was it really? Was it that much?
Yeah. It was like a recent sale, kind of an anomaly number. But
isn't there only 198?
It's something to that effect. Like maybe there's 2 or 3 or whatever. But somebody really loves Ghost Rider out there. Maybe it was Nick Cage. So anyways, the votes are in. People, you know what to do. Giant Size X-Men #1. Chris is putting the ring on that. He's going to marry that thing. That one is a match made in heaven. He's going to honeymoon with it. Marvel Spotlight #5. We're going to burn that one. No love for Ghost Rider. Setting him ablaze, the Johnny ablaze. And ASM 129. We have faith that we're going to see Punisher once again in the MCU. And that book is going to the moon. Let us know what you guys think here. We got some votes coming in. We got Sanj with the 1 here, Joe with the 1, Trilogy with the 1, Comic Journey with the 1, Rob with the 1, Carnival with the 1, Levy with the 1, Clyde with the 2, We got Fallen with the 2, Hammer with the 1, Sound with the 2. There are 4 of them. I'm not sure what that is. Empire with the 2, Nowhere with the 1, 1 absolutely, 2 not the Punisher fan, Hidden with the 1. Sorry, 2 for the Dorn, 2. We got some 1s and 2s. Honestly, it was about 70%, I'd say, the votes here. But
I thought it'd be way worse. I thought everyone was going to have a 2 on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is your picks here, Chris. You know, everybody. I saw people when you were making your pick, and you immediately put the ring on Giant Size X-Men #1. There were a lot of yeses. I saw that immediately pop up right away, and people were excited. People were thinking you were going to burn it, but at the last minute, you were able to have the squeeze play, hit that single, get it home, and marry that book. It was an epic celebration. You won Spec, Collect, Forget, and your prize.
Sent a video.
Your prize is that you get to celebrate and go home with this book and sip champagne out of it. But except you don't want to pour water on it because then you're going to get water damage and the grade's going to hurt. But it went a little something like this in my mind.
Here comes the throw. He slides. He is safe. The Indians win it! The Indians win it! Oh my God, the Indians win it! I can't believe it!
I love that you made Newbie a chick.
I just like to be in my fantasy world of this major league comic book thing. Newbie is the evil owner of the Cleveland Indians that didn't want you to win. Obviously, was a big fan of Marvel Spotlight 5 and very upset that you picked Giant Size X-Men instead. So, Major League, by the way, an incredible movie.
It really is. I watched it again for the first time in 20 years.
It's so good. It's such a great film. Such a great
part
film.
2, not so much.
Yeah. Part 2, not so much, but the first one, great. Anyways, that scene makes me always feel.
Hey, do you remember when Charlie Sheen was awesome?
Yeah, I do remember when he was awesome. Yeah. He was really awesome when he was awesome.
He really was in the 90s. He was like a comedian.
Yeah.
Weird.
But now he's just money. I think is what he is. He's just money. Just money.
I guess so.
Well, Chris, you made it through 10 rounds, Spec, Collect, Forget. You did great. Everybody, thank you guys so much in the chat for participating and voting along and playing alongside Chris here. I think everybody was feeling your picks, and I want to say thank you for being a sport and playing this game with me here today.
That was awesome, man. Like that was actually, to be honest, incredibly difficult. The whole thing. Yeah. I was like, there were only like 2 that were somewhat easy, but I really enjoyed that. I could do this every night. My wife would make me, but I would still do it every night.
Yeah, it is tough. I mean, I think that's what other people, who've played with me in the chat have mentioned before. Everyone says like, when you're in the pressure seat having to make the pick, it's hard. You feel it.
I think you're doing a benefit though by doing this. I know it's going to sound crazy, but there are people looking for certain books and books to spec on, but also books that their next big book, and everyone has a next big book. But like by doing this and listening to people like me or Ryan from Automatic, who is very data orientated and knows his shit, you can learn a lot about these books. And it might turn your attention to something you wouldn't regularly buy. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, even for me myself, like I have the front row seat to listening to you guys talk about your perspective, and then seeing everybody in the chat, weigh in. And it's really interesting. Like, for instance, like I'm somebody who, I just always like Kang, but like, I'm just like weird like that, where I always like the weird B tier villains. Like, I don't know, that's just me. I'm one of those people who like loved Rick the Martyr Martel, when I was watching wrestling. That was like, so I was like that kid. So I like all those villains, but it's interesting to see, everybody say like, oh yeah, like I'm much more into Kingpin or Galactus or whatever, and it's just interesting to hear the perspective.
I'm like I think I'm 10 years older than you, so I'm of the era where John Byrne. I still remember John Byrne doing Galactus. I remember Mobius and Stan Lee doing a Galactus comic book. I mean, these were incredible at the time. Galactus just stuck in my head is like one of the great villains in that story. The last Galactus story was released in Epic Comics by Byrne in the late 80s. Unbelievable storytelling. I always wanted to see that Marvel do that. No matter what, like, I don't care what they do. That's the one story I want to see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I always talk about this when I'm trying to like do videos about talking about values or books that I feel are undervalued or whatever. Yeah. And I really lean heavily into brand affinity. Like, yeah. I know that there's values and there's like comic collectors feel certain ways about certain characters, but like, to me, I just kind of look at like, what does pop culture feel about a character? And Galactus is a character I feel like, even if you're not a comic book collector, I feel like a lot of people know who Galactus is. Like a lot of people do. And so I feel like when that movie comes, like there's going to be that is going to be a huge event for sure.
Oh, and it was, I mean, and we both know it's a long ways off simply because we've got to set up Fantastic Four first. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Beginning of, and then we need a good breather for a little while to like have them be part of the world that we care about. I think Galactus is 8 to 10 years away still. I mean,
I think you could be right. Like if they're going to build it up in the way that like we kind of know how they've been building it, I think you're right. If they want to do it, you know, justice and have it feel as epic as it could or should be, but who knows? Like, because what kind of timetable are they on now? I wonder if they feel like they just want to go faster with these.
I think they will, but it's funny because we're speccing so hard on everything right now. I don't think people understand how hard it is to make shit, and also how long it takes for us to interact with characters and take our time getting to know them. And I think Disney Plus is going to speed that up because we'll have like Loki. I feel like Loki's an iconic character now. Like he's in league with the classic. Like the other night with Newbie, they were showing like Journey in the Mystery 83 and 85. And I'm actually comparing those two as almost equal books now because Loki's becoming an equal character in Marvel. That would never, even 5 years ago, we'd be like laughing at the idea of that. But potentially that character can go on another 20 years the way they've got it set up now. It's kind of incredible, right?
Yeah, it is interesting.
It does take time, to do these things. Like and I so like when you hear like people talk like there's a Secret Wars movie being set up, I'm sure there is. But I mean, that could be 15 years from now. It really could. So. It
really could, because it's like Secret Wars is the way that they bring RDJ back into the fold, right? Like they're going to do something crazy. And so, it's like, they don't need to pull it out for another 10 years.
I still feel like he's going to show up as an AI program in not Lionheart, but whatever what's her name? Invincible Iron Man 9.
Riri Williams. Yeah, it's totally possible. For sure.
That's how I see it. But man, this has been fun.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Joe here, I got to echo what he says here. Need to grab another brew. And I got to agree with you, sir, because I definitely feel like getting another brew. I can feel my voice being hoarse after talking so much. I think I'm going to end the stream and then say thank you guys for joining us here tonight for another round of Spec Collect Forget. Thank you, Vancouver Comics Junkie, for hopping on the channel, hopping in the hot seat and playing this game with us here today. In case you don't know, or in case the people don't know it there in the chat, why don't you tell them a little bit about, your channel and maybe where they can find you and kind of give us some closing thoughts here.
Yeah, just come to Vancouver Comics Junkie. I'm on IG. Hit me up with messages, anything you want. Just hit me up. I buy and sell books all the time. I'm also on YouTube. I don't do as many videos as Swag does, but I try and put out a book or a video every couple weeks. Mostly just pick up stuff, but I get to talk about each book in length with a friend, and I bring on a lot of guests and stuff, and it's super fun. We just have a good time talking. So if you love talking comics, come to my channel.
Absolutely. I believe I have a link in the description. So if you guys want to hop over to that channel, go sub them up, check it out. You definitely enjoy it. I was on the show just last week, so maybe you can watch the VOD of when I was on there. Chris opened up a lot of really awesome CGC slabs. So we had a good conversation. But I just wanted to say again, thank you guys all for tuning in and watching. Really appreciate you guys participating, and have a great night. We'll see you in the next stream.
Bye, guys.